Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds, hanging out with a bunch of nerds today and a nerdette. We will be playing some Marvel Phase Rip. This is kind of, I guess, our session 0.5. We did a session 0. Uh, DVJ will be here next week, and then we're going to go in the full swing. And so this week, I guess we're just going to like work things out a little bit more. So I will turn it over to the master of ceremonies for today, the one running the show, and that is our judge, Professor Bill.
I'm the master of ceremonies. That's right. MC Bill in the house, in the hissle. What's up? Okay, I'm going to stop that nonsense. First off, guys, I think in general you know that we're going to need some of these, but we won't need all of them. Oh, no. Just 2 percentiles, peeps. So, first off, I want to say hi to Megan. Say hi, Megan.
Hello. Hi.
That's it.
Using my words, not my hands.
What's up?
I want to say hi to Dave.
Yo, what's going on, Professor?
And there's Travis in the background with a very sexy book.
Face front, true believers. Let's get it on.
Celsius, my brother. All right, awesome. And I guess it's fair to say that we are being produced by War Eagle Keep today. You guys have seen this guy in the chat of almost every single freaking chat, live chat on Nerdarchy. So moving forward, there he is. Dude's quick, man. Dude's quick. All right, so this being the case, we're about to kick it into medium gear from lower gear, and we're going to try and iron out these characters. It could only take an hour. It might take full 2. Let's see what it takes. So, guys, what does everybody have for me? And let's start all the way over from Doug.
I'm good to go, man. I'm loving my guy Nightlight, as he will sometimes call himself. He hasn't decided on a name yet. I am totally into alliteration, so he's the incandescent icon, whose name is Leo Lampley.
Isn't other people supposed to give you that? Like, he gave it to himself.
I'm imagining this guy's kind of like a nerdy scientist guy who's like, I'm going to use my powers to be a superhero. So he kind of like figured like that's what you're supposed to do, right? You have to have like a catchy, nickname and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, his name's Leo Lampley. To play off the light thing, he is a high technology character that I use the scientist template. He's the CEO of Bright Future Technologies, which is an optics company that they make light bulbs. That's how they keep the lights on. Wink. But they also do like research into optics and stuff like that. And he is very squishy, but I misunderstood the ratio of points last time, so he's slightly less squishy now with his final version. But he is very smart and rich, and he has powers that are related to light. So he wears like an all-white bodysuit with a mask and a hooded cloak, and has optics circuitry woven all throughout it, so he can create holographic duplicates that he can see through, and that can be decoys and stuff. He can change the color of things. And he has light manipulation and generation. So he can like hypnotize people, blind them, things like that.
Help us out there, Doug. See, because I know now because you schooled me, but originally I was like, you can change the color of things. That has got to be like the dopiest power ever, but you explained it as...
Yes, actually, it even describes it. It says, do you think this is the #1 wimp power? But you would be remiss in thinking that I have total control over the color of any target substance, whether solid, liquid, or gas. I can alter basic physics and chemical properties. He can alter the frequency and intensity of light. So he can change the frequency to any other frequency, including infrared, visible spectrum, and ultraviolet. You can split apart white light into rainbows, recombine it back into white, lower the intensity of light to create darkness. You can heat up objects by causing light to become infrared. He can, and converting normal light to infrared light gives a kind of a bonus power of heat emission. He can protect himself from heat by doing the reverse of that. Change the color of things, tan skin, can fade printed material. It changed the color of lasers. So like red lasers would carry more heat, green lasers would pass unhindered through water. turn things white so they reflect all light, turn them black so they absorb all light. He can make things clear. He can cure blindness by changing the lens of an eye to be transparent instead of the cloudiness that causes blindness.
And when all else fails, he can make his opponent's outfits clash. Bam!
Yes. And he's just mundane. He could make the Hulk have normal skin color. All of a sudden, he's just a big, muscly dude instead of the Hulk. So
Nice, nice. And also, I noticed that you're wearing your shirt of wonder, which you got from the very first and only unique Nerdarchy crate, which you unboxed live on your very first video.
That's right. Yep. Dave thought it was so cool he wanted to put his on.
All right. So next up in order, we have Megan.
Oh, good. Okay, so I'm going to be playing Nathan Kalani, aka Ash, as suggested by someone in the chat. I'm sorry, I don't remember who it was, but he is young and pissed off, is basically the way to describe it. For him, I took Fire Generation, Fire Control, and Regeneration, which is one of those powers with the asterisks, so it costs more than the other powers did, but I think it's cool, and I just really like the mental image of him charring his own flesh off and growing it back, like, while that's going on, so, you know, it amuses me. He is a mutant. He, as a costume, pretty much just wears street clothes, like leather jacket, black hoodie, you know, face mask, like one of those deep hoods, though. So he's got this kind of like faceless thing going on, fingerless gloves, Converse, and a baseball bat, which he is very good at beating people with. He smokes. He's not, like, you know, he can be a nice person. He's not typically a nice person, though.
So you made a Ty Johnson character.
Yes. Except young and pissed off, and not like as fearless.
What is your regeneration rank?
I went with 20.
20. All right.
Yes.
For the sake of conversation in the chat, Wolverine's standard regeneration with his adamantium skeleton is remarkable 30. So she's pretty damn close. Pretty damn close. Okay, next up we have Dave.
Hey, folks. I will be playing Mosh Pit, who is his superhero name, I guess. But he was born Marley O'Malley, and he's basically kind of a drag. He's kind of a drifter. Like, the only thing he really does and has going on is he's a volunteer firefighter, which means he may or may not set fires to go put out. And, you know, basically typical Irish drunk rowdy kid who is also a performer in a heavy metal band. Actually, I have to name the band. I forgot about that. I actually had to remake my character after realizing I didn't save it last time. But so my power is self-duplication, and that is why he's Mosh Pit, because he's the one-man Mosh Pit. And I also took hyper speed, but reflexes only, and I kind of explain it as it's not so much that he moves places fast, but he just duplicates and then gets absorbed back in. So he can do that, you know, at amazing rank. So he can produce 5 of himself. So he kind of like bounces around between where he actually is by, you know, dismissing his duplicates. Now, I was trying to explain to Bill how I thought the power works. So it's kind of like every time he does it, he messes up the multiverse. Because every time he creates a duplicate, that duplicate springs from nowhere. But when he dismisses it, that's where the problem begins, because it has to go somewhere. Well, it does. It goes into an alternate timeline or alternate universe that was just created once he dismissed them. So basically, he just goes around creating himself all over the place, and it keeps creating alternate dimensions that he doesn't know.
Is he aware of that? Oh, okay.
No, he has no idea.
Oh, no.
I just figured it'd be like, I wanted to do self-duplication different than it's been done before, and I figured it's a good plot device if you decide you want to use it later.
So you took the duplication ability at Amazing 50, and that's why you're able to do 5.
Yes.
What if you took it at typical 6?
Oh, well, no, actually, that's just what we agreed on, because technically you can just keep self-duplicating.
Yeah, you can make as many as the power rank.
The rank doesn't have anything to do with it.
Oh, well, like illusory duplicates of power I took, you can make as many as the power rank, so I can make 6.
Yeah, that's part of the charm and one of the problems with the original Marvel system. Like for that one, they're like, yeah, that's how many duplicates you can make. And for the other ones, like, oh, you can produce one every round. So basically, the way the power is written, right? You remember the Bugs Bunny cartoon where he's like the rabbits are multiplying and rabbits are multiplying? The way it's written, you could technically do that. But I think what we agreed on was for every 10 points, a duplicate.
Okay. That's what it was. Okay, because I was trying to wonder, like, where'd the 50 come from? Now I get it. So it's not necessarily Amazing 50, just 5 duplicates. All right, cool. Any other abilities, powers?
Just the hyperspeed, which is like, okay, I just, well, if there's a bunch of me, I can do things faster. I took the disadvantage that I don't actually have super speed, but I can use my power in ways that almost duplicate it. But I took off the safeguards. I don't have any inherent protections against I still need to breathe. It doesn't give me resistance against the friction. So I couldn't go crazy with this speed anyway. And I figure I want to do a lot of power stunts off it. That's another reason why I made it amazing.
So technically, you ever seen how Johnny Cage does that punch thing that he does, or the kick thing that he does in Mortal Kombat? Could you technically make like 3 of yourself and one big kick?
That's kind of like the stuff I'm thinking about, or like moves where like I duplicate to so we surround someone at once and just like one punch at the same time.
You could do a peasant railgun with yourself.
Yeah.
You could run a race without actually moving if you just kept on duplicating and dismissing what was behind you.
Yes.
I got a question for you, Dave. You do have one interesting talent. Is that what were you thinking there? Or is that something you want to keep secret?
No, that's fine. Which one?
Resist domination.
Because he's many minds in one mind at once, I figured it makes it. Every time I envision this. If someone tries to go into his head, they see his mind, but then they see all the duplicates that he's made and dismissed at the same time.
Oh wow, so, that's cool.
So it's like creates this like labyrinth, and that's why I also really cranked my psyche up.
Okay, cool.
I now know your band name, Krizak.
Krizak.
If anybody forgets, that's from our Open Legend game that a couple of us here have.
That is so metal,
right? Krizak, because they were so many minds, none of us, including Krizak, wasn't able to penetrate their minds. Bang! 5 karma points for me. And last but certainly not least, we have Tad Cannon. Tad Cannon. Tad Cannon.
It's Tab, like the 80s soft drink.
Yeah. For the record.
Hey, Dave, did you put up my my piracy video yet?
I did.
I had to, of course, watch the movie War Games again just to get certain little quotes from off of there. And I think it was the funniest thing in the world when Matthew Broderick and Ali Sheedy were sitting there drinking a couple cans of Tab. I was just like, oh, my God, Tab.
I think that came out like a few years ago. I saw it.
Came out?
Yeah. Like it went away, didn't it?
The remake.
Oh, I don't know.
They got Crystal Pepsi again, too. But anyways,
Okay,
we're stealing Tab Cannon's spotlight.
For the record, I don't remember Tab tasting any different than an RC Cola. That's my memory of it.
Royal
What
Crown.
about Shasta?
And I miss the Shasta. Yes, Tab Cannon, the 6 o'clock news with the Pulse, right here in beautiful New York City. Very happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to this. He's an altered human due to a technical mishap, which I suppose we should. I don't even know if we'll get to really discuss tonight because it's kind of could be the big, inciting incident maybe we were talking about. And I went with sensor. So this is where everybody seems to have a really good idea of what they're gonna do, and it's really cool. I've for the most part figured it out. We Bill and I got together and talked about it a little bit because I learned the rules a little bit better. But we're going with sensory link. I basically see myself as like, on the X-Men, every good X-Men team has a telepath. Got to have the telepath, but he doesn't have to be a telepath, right? He doesn't have to be someone with mental powers. He could basically be someone who can communicate and broadcast to the masses at will. And there's a cool thread. That's one of the great things about the Ultimate Powers book. There's kind of a cool thread of sound powers that'll take you through some interesting stuff. So sensory link, basically it means we can all talk to each other. And we need to look at it again, Bill, and see if we actually have to speak out loud or whether we can actually mentally communicate with each other. And then I took speech throwing. Basically, I can throw my voice anywhere that I can see. And I think I'm going to hold on to it. And then I'm going with Sonic Generation. We're going with Incredible, with a big limitation that Bill and I talked about, which is it has to be done through a device. This is one of the things I was going to talk to you about, Bill, is like, what we were talking about was like a Bluetooth headset. He'd basically be always wearing a headset and a speaker. Or I thought about maybe carrying a bullhorn on a strap. Would that amplify it in any way? Probably not. What it means is that if I don't have a piece of equipment, I can't use my power. That was kind of the big question. Is like, if I'm locked in a room without any toys, without any gear, I'm just a dude with a excellent fighting and a remarkable agility. You know what I mean? Like, and I can probably communicate. Question is, can I communicate? Like, do all my powers have to go through a thing? Can I sensory link just naked? You know what I mean? So it's something we'll talk about. And I've got.
It's an easy fix right now. We only agreed on for the one power to have that ability.
So I think in order for me, because I wanted to have like a Cyclops type thing where I'm like I've got a big beam or a big something I can hit the crap out of somebody with. And basically, in order to do that at Incredible, I need to do it through a piece of equipment. So I've got some various things with me. I've got some burner cell phones. I've got some Soprano cell phones on my belt like grenades.
You get a rape whistle. That's your device.
Also, as far as the bullhorn, I'll give you this analogy. Imagine the Incredible Hulk punching somebody in the face. Now imagine he uses a weapon, but the weapon he uses is a chunk of styrofoam or a Nerf bat. Which one do you think would hurt more?
Oh, well, yeah.
So using the bullhorn as opposed to any other device, it's the same exact thing.
It's the same
because
thing.
Your voice is way more powerful than the bullhorn.
That's great. So and that's why the phones are fun, because then the phones are basically like I can throw a phone like a bomb, or I can leave it behind somewhere or plant it. Like you get me into their office and oops, I left my phone. And then I blow the whole place to hell, you know.
That's really cool. So he can project his power through the phone?
Yeah.
This is why,
like that. Oh, that's pretty cool, man.
Like one of the things we talked about was actually like one of those little hand tape recorders, and it's a time bomb now.
So
that's really neat.
That's the thing, man. You got none of you guys wanted to have a conversation with me like one-on-one on video, except for Travis, and Travis has all the cool stuff now.
Oh, I don't know about that, but I really like this guy, and so I'm also going with radio wave generation, which means that I can broadcast on AM, FM radio anytime I want, which I think is one of the coolest powers in the Ultimate Powers book. It's another one of those things where it's like it sounds like the color changing, sounds like something lame and shitty, but in fact, you can broadcast on the AM FM band. I can get on the police band anytime I want, anywhere I am. I can listen to the police band anytime I want, anytime I am. Some Batman Daredevil stuff going on. Love that. And basically means if we need to tell everyone in New York, and that was the other thing I was going to talk to you, Bill, about, is basically like any power at all that I would use, like I'd roll on, like it's only good, right? So I would roll it, and then what? Like, we'd create some measure of distance, because I'm not sure if it's written down that if I got a green result, I'm talking to everybody in the borough I'm in, or 10 blocks, or we're gonna have to, whatever.
Well, Leo's pretty smart too. He might be able to help whip up something to amplify that as well.
So I'm saying, you and me are pals, Doug. You and me, like, I want to say that, like I should have done a story.
The sound and the theory.
That's what I'm saying. You got a great cloak and dagger thing going, and you got a. I have to have like done a story on your light bulb. Like, so tell me, it's a light bulb. Come on.
But it's so much more.
What do I know? Really? Tell me more about that.
Can your light bulbs do my taxes and make me pancakes? That's the question.
With holographic technology, perhaps.
And when we come back, we're going to find out more about this fantastic light bulb after this. And so,
As far as having to use your voice, I would say no, because I'm thinking of Black Bolt. His ridiculously unbelievable power, just welled up, is actually in the speech center of his brain. So it's more of a mishap that by using his voice is what causes all that damage. His real power is particle manipulation. But since it's in the speech pattern of his brain, that's the reason why it's happened. So I could just assume that you know how to do it. Exactly. You don't actually have to open your mouth to transmit your waves, your radio waves.
yeah.
Hey, Professor, where might somebody learn more about Black Bolt in like about a minute?
Probably on Comic Book University on YouTube.
Which I checked out.
Nice one. 1 billion karma.
I'm watching Bill's channel. I watched the Venom verse one, and I watched 2 or 3 of them. It was awesome. Catching me up.
But my son, we watched the Inhumans Friday, and my son did he just flip that car by grunting?
Yeah, he's actually got 1,000 class 1,000 ability if he screams as loud as he wants. A whisper does shift Y200.
Yeah. Listen, am I the only one that really wants to see broadcast use the bullhorn? Because I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, man.
It's all for the visual of it. It's
Yeah.
like
Exactly,
that's
for
a
the
fun.
visual. You were just reading Classic X-Men issue number 1, right?
Oh, you bet I
believe
was.
it's 7 issues later in Classic X-Men issue number 8, if I remember correctly. Banshee and Wolverine were actually tied up, and they took off Wolverine's gloves. The original ideology was that the claws were in the gloves, but Chris Claremont, who wrote it, he had this amazing idea where it's like, no. It's actually his bones. Well,
Right.
it was just supposed to be the claws themselves were in his skin. They didn't know it was actually going to be his bones until issue number 75 of the 3rd volume of Wolverine. That's when all of a sudden bone claws. But yeah, so when he popped that out, it was actually one of the most
Right?
It was one of the most endearing comic books to me, because Banshee, after he saw Wolverine break out and beat up the bad guys, he was like, "Those things are actually in your hands?" He says, "Yeah," and that's the first time you heard him say, "Does it hurt when they come out?" And he says, "Every time."
Right.
Original movie.
Was that from when they were in Genosha?
No, it was right before they
Magneto?
went to right before they were attacked by Eric the Red, which eventually came to the castle in Mirror Island with the
Mirror
Juggernaut.
Island.
The first time they met Black Tom Cassidy and Juggernaut.
Starts to get a little weird right around there. There's a 2 or
Yes.
3 issue stretch there with Eric the
Some
Red,
NPR.
that whole bit where things are getting a little, and they'll do it again with Lilandra, where the things get a little sci-fi. You're like, what is going on? And then it all comes back around about 2 or 3. They hit a groove about 2 or 3 issues later.
So
Yeah, the issue I just mentioned is one of the last ones where they hadn't started going into space every other issue.
Right. Yeah. It's great.
what do we want to do about viewers that are watching, right? Going forward, because like we've done stuff with Karma, and we want people to bring their D100s with them. I know we talked about this
Here's one
briefly.
thing I was thinking that every time that somebody actually does show up in the chat, that we've got to have a way to measure it, like maybe a roll call in the beginning, a roll call in the end, and if somebody shows up for both roll calls or whatever, you just like literally just type in anything, then we can just write their names down really quick. It shouldn't take very long at all, and then those people right away can have 5 karma points for actually being in the game, and just save it up, use it however they want to use it, and then for actually participating in the game during, like in the middle. So this way, you're rewarded for multiple levels.
What about this? We'll create a pool of like 5 times however many viewers there are at the beginning, so that way it behooves them. Hey, you wanna interact more? Get your friends to start viewing too, and the more people that are in the chat, the more karma they'll have. And it's just like a pool, so it's like, I guess there would be some level of trust between them, or it's just like if in the game somebody's like, I'm gonna use 10 karma, then it's coming out of the audience pool.
We could do it as a pool, but then we'll put like a limit how much you can take out at one point.
There you go.
Like blocks.
Yeah,
of 5
that's
or 10.
really cool. That way it won't be like they can just demolish us at any time by using all of it.
No.
I like that, and that rewards like the bigger the audience, the bigger the pool will be.
So I guess
Anthony's
the
in the
question
chat
too
with
is,
a kitchen knife, and she takes out Galactus because of all the karma.
Yeah.
and I get like maybe we can do something too, like where we put it in the description, like what they can spend the karma on. So like the obvious thing is they can spend karma to add to a die roll, right? Like that's what everybody can do. But what about like the fun things they want to do? Like say like they're using a thug and maybe the thug can do a power stun or something or can attempt it.
Or bring in reinforcements.
The moment that you started talking, I started thinking about, more permanent rewards like or carryover rewards. What if I were to say, like, okay, like when I put parademons, okay, you guys, here's the stats for the parademons. What if they'd earned up enough that they can say, okay, here you go. I want a +1 column shift to this
They're
power
fighting.
or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun.
How about
That's
that?
cool.
You know, I like the idea of them being able to get, you know, spend karma to put like a pedestrian in danger,
Yeah.
or have maybe a natural disaster happen
Yeah. That's cool.
in the
Yeah,
middle of
yeah,
what's
yeah, yeah.
going on.
Like plot
That's
twists.
That is actually a really good idea, because in this way, it behooves you guys, like, hey, if you rescue one person, that's 20 karma points for one of you player characters.
So they're actually
absolutely.
challenging us. Where it's just like, I'm
Yes,
going to throw a
absolutely.
pedestrian, and it's just like, if you take time out of the battle to save him, then you can get karma, but it might, yeah, that's cool, man. That's a really cool idea. I like that a lot.
You know, like maybe like for 5 or 10 points, like a pedestrian's in danger, but for maybe 25 points, someone personally connected to one of the players is in danger. Like, if Spider-Man was here, all of a sudden this bank's being robbed and Aunt May's there cashing her social security check.
Yeah. That's a really cool.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
I'm digging it. There's a whole bunch of different ideas we could do. Okay, so you know what? Then I need to, on my own, like I don't have enough to do. On my own, I need to find out a couple of different things I could do. So I could say, okay, guys, we have, like, let's say Red Lanterns. Everybody can be a Red Lantern. But at other points in the game, I could say something to the effect of, okay, I want somebody, or everybody's allowed to have one interaction, such as, some little thing. Put a pedestrian in danger, or two thugs robbing a bank. Who wants to be the thugs? And you want to jump in? Okay, you could be a hostage, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
That works.
Hey, real quick before we go too far on, I didn't want to leave DBJ out since he's not here because he has a really, really cool character. Maybe we could talk about that. I got pulled it up here if you want.
Sure, if you like, go ahead.
Yeah, his character is Darwin, and I think this is a super interesting character concept. So he's like an old retired professor, and his power is that he can basically revert or advance himself to like a prehistoric or sophisticated future version of himself. So version that's like more physically capable. There is a Neanderthal version that's like the tank and is real tough and stuff. And then there's an advanced futuristic version that's super smart and has like psychic powers. So I don't know. I just wanted to mention that because I thought I've never seen anything like that. It was a really neat idea.
Yeah,
and I figured we'd just mention him since he's part of the team.
Alternate egos is a great idea. Like, I could tell he's been thinking about playing this character for a long time.
Yeah. And he had a really slick looking character sheet that he put together with nice art and everything. So
I was impressed.
Yeah.
It definitely blows away my plain text. Your word
pad.
It was a great text file, David. It was a really cool text file.
I can see where you tried to erase the yellow legal pad lines and everything. It was.
But yeah, I'm looking for a nice mix of variety of characters, and I thought that DBJ had a really cool concept. So
DBJ is
he's also
doing
got
a
the only
really
character with any kind of physical strength.
Oh, right. That's true.
He's also the only character who's potentially at least got some kind of physical strength.
That's true.
And it's incredible 40, if I remember correctly. So that means, and that would be the ability to lift 10 tons over your head or press 10 tons. So that's approximately Spider-Man strength standard. What's that?
Oh, I'm saying hi to Jim Davis.
Oh,
sorry.
Hi, Jim.
Sorry. DBJ is doing a really interesting variation of something that is in the Ultimate Powers book, where you can basically truck your evolution, but in the book it's you can be like a giant brain, and like this instead of what DBJ is doing, where he's like there's a picture of an alien. He's basically like this advanced human, which I think is more interesting than a giant brain. And then also,
Yeah.
I can't remember what the lowest of it is in the book, but it's
A
he's doing it
Neanderthal.
cool.
Oh, in the book.
But his is different. His is like I don't know if it's exactly the same the first state, but anyway, it's a really cool take on something that's in the book.
Yeah, I really dug
And
that.
he's the strongest guy. So I didn't think about that. He's the strongest dude. He's the muscle.
Someone's got to be muscle.
But you're pretty strong. I mean, you're not super duper strong, but he's like Captain America strong.
Or I went with more endurance than anything.
What's your strength, Dave?
My strength
Excellent.
is
Excellent. Okay. Yeah, that's low end Captain America strength. He should be remarkable. But all right, no, that's good. Plus, if you have a whole bunch of your people helping, you should be able to lift a ton easily.
I will not be helping with my poor strength.
Well, no.
But you can help me with my poor resources.
Yeah, that's true. I do. I am quite well.
So one thing.
Yeah, I have incredible resources. There's a lot of money in light bulbs.
I'm asking you for money.
Sorry.
I'm asking you to buy
So
lunch.
this lets me know about the power level of the game that I'm going to lead you in, and absolutely, like if we look at the modern day defenders, Luke Cage has incredible 40 strength. So and Jessica Jones would also have approximately incredible 40 strength. Is she stronger than Luke? A little bit weaker than Luke? I don't know. Whatever. It's about the same.
That combo seems so pointless.
Especially since she has no body armor, right?
They've got the same powers except for she's not invulnerable.
And then they don't really ever
books,
play up her strength either in the show.
In the comic books, though, she can fly, so it balances in that regard. She's the only flying character. But yeah, if you look at it that way, you guys aren't too. Megan, what is your fire generation ability?
30.
30. Okay. I thought it was 30. Okay, cool. So that's good because like the Human Torch would be unearthly 100, which is ridiculously insane. And when he goes Nova Blast, it's 500 points of damage to everything within 10 areas, which is ridiculous. So
I think you nailed it on the pool of points you gave us.
Say again.
Yeah, I think I think you really nailed it on the pool of points you gave us. It was like just the right amount where it's like you could be really good at one thing, and then it's just like you're probably not, you're not super awesome, but it's like whatever, or you could be generalist. But
I'm surprised.
I think most of us kind of went with like
just went with the GURPS route. I was like, we're just going to do points, and you guys.
I thought it worked perfectly, especially for like a street level thing. It's like we're really good at one thing.
It really put us close to like X-Men level.
Yes.
Yeah, we're like the thing that your specialty is.
But
oh, I forgot one thing. Dave and Megan are both mutants, and Dave, one of the things I was talking with Megan about was that since she has, technically an extra, if everybody's got on average 4 powers, and you can boost your powers appropriately with the 100 points and your face rip skills, that having an extra power by being an X-Men, a mutant, technically 1/4 of that 100 is 25. So I gave her 125 points. So Dave, you've got an extra 5 points coming to you because I remember only giving you 120.
Woohoo! Hey, that's
So
good.
I will be severely disappointed if our characters aren't bros, though. Like, they need to be really good friends.
Oh, we could absolutely do that.
Yeah.
What is your character's name? Nate?
Nathan.
He was probably at the Mosh Pit's concert.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, supporting his buddy.
Oh,
what did you go? Did you decide on the name? Is it going to be Krizik?
For the band, I don't know, because I'm almost thinking like, something like the Dropkick Murphys, that kind of
play with that Irish.
Yeah, something like Irish ska, punkish metal band.
That's beautiful. I love that genre.
Kyle Ellis,
Plug and
I like
Molly.
the idea of he could be Mosh Pit could actually be Dazzler's entire band, the backup and everything. But at the same time, I'm thinking that if he's more like a local band, it's an excuse for him to stay in New York.
Yeah,
so.
Like I don't know, Emerald Vomit or something. I don't know. We'll come up with something.
That sounds like the Green Lantern Corps band.
Will he be able to stop the crime and make his gig at CBGB's?
Yeah.
Find out.
That's where self-duplication comes in, and why it's the best power ever.
Literally
There
doing
you
more
go.
than 1.2.
RP app.
I'm just gonna
Like,
end
I
up
can
with
make the
6 of us
faster
going,
hands
I'm not
instead
going
of
to work, you go to work.
Oh yeah.
Who's in charge here? Hey, you're the new guy. You go to work.
Yeah.
My
Or
my
he could
is
be
always
wealthy.
all
He could
beat
have
up
a
from
bunch of
playing with
jobs.
himself.
He could have like a bunch of different jobs, and they all make income.
Right? You go to work or you go to the altered dimension.
All I do is produce another 5 drunks.
I didn't hear that last part.
I said all I do is produce another 5 drunks.
So do you dismiss them or absorb them back into yourself?
Oh, I dismiss them.
Okay, I was gonna say, what if they all got drunk and then you reabsorbed them and be like super drunk?
No, well, that's what I was saying. I dismiss them, and
Yeah.
now that they exist, now they go back to a different. They go to an
Okay.
alternate Earth that didn't exist before.
Gotcha.
So the mosh pit planet.
So yeah, like I just envision like no, they're each time it's a different one though. So like I envision like eventually the tribunal's going to show up and be like, dude, what are you doing? You can't do this.
You're
Do
messing
they
up.
have the power also?
No, that's the one
Okay.
thing that's self
Yeah, I was
duplication.
gonna say that would get out of hand real quick.
Doug, what is that on your wrist, man? That's cool.
Just a leather bracelet thing.
Is it a wristwatch or just a band?
No, just purely cosmetic. No practical function.
One of these days I plan on doing a explained in a minute for the Crow. So I got these awesome little things so I can totally dress up. That was one of my Halloween costumes one time. So I'm going to crow out one of these days. And
Nice.
yeah.
Can't rain
I
all
was
the
close
time,
enough
Bill.
to explain that Caliber comic completely dressed in the makeup and everything. Is Megan laughing at me?
It can't rain.
Only
Well,
a
I got
little
confidence
bit.
from
Only
Miles.
a little
You
bit.
can laugh all you want.
Marquee Bill.
Pretty high. It's pretty high school, Bill.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Somebody in the chat had the idea that we're headquartered at a Radio Shack, and whether or not we actually do that, I love that. Whether or not we actually do it, but it got me thinking. Like, there's a really fun opportunity here to do a lot of gear. You know, D&D's got arrows, and like I'm gonna write down how many phones I've got. You know, like I'm gonna do a gear list. I don't know about y'all, but I love that there's a lot of we've got some stuff with us when we roll out and kick some ass. It's fun. I like that idea.
Nice. You know, if you, with your ridiculously incredible, literally, resources, Doug, you could buy out Radio Shack. They're kind of falling apart right now. I would appreciate it if you also brought them back to their original state where I can go there and buy crystal radio components and diodes and things like that, as opposed to phones and outdated Tandy computers. Like, yeah,
Good going on that, Doug.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah, I kind of like I kind of was thinking this guy's like whole hog, like he's a fan of superheroes. Like, I'm gonna be a superhero, and it's like you gotta have a base, you gotta have a costume, you know, this and that, and he's got the money, so yeah, that's totally. You know,
So,
but
you know,
he's.
with that
I mean,
being the case, why don't we actually decide what your base is going to be? We've got the time.
Yeah. What chat? What do you think our base should be? Well, we've already heard Radio Shack, right? Did that come from the base or from the chat?
yeah, that was from chat.
I mean, if Doug owns like I like this idea that he would buy like, a discount electronics store,
Yeah.
and so that he could.
And then maybe there's like there's a statue in there that you pull it and the room flips around.
Behind the lighting, behind the stage lighting area.
Yeah, exactly.
Basement.
Behind the lighting and sound equipment.
Like a bunch of guys who, running the counter, look like they smoke a lot of pot and just kind of hang around the place, and they don't like realize.
Yeah, they don't have any clue what's going on.
Yeah, they all make $5 an hour and they don't give a damn, and they're all like big fans of Dave's band, and it's all.
Yeah, dude, there you go. Like that's how we all hooked up, because Marley bought his speakers there and stuff. Maybe Nate's like a vag, he hangs out in the storefront.
It's like, you guys got C200?
Oh yes.
Like, get out of here, kid.
I need to.
But actually, Nathan's stationed there to keep an eye on things too. But he looks like a troublemaker, smoking cigarettes, leaning against the wall.
I like Raven's suggestion.
What's that?
Blockbuster.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh god, all the old ones that closed.
But we
down.
only sell Betamax. It's coming
It's a
back.
Oh, can we have a magic red box?
Or
For,
laser discs.
And dimensional space inside of a red
I
box.
like that. A vintage electronics store. Yeah. It's like
yeah, so it's called Radio Shack.
well, I mean, like electronics repair stuff. So it's
Okay,
just like,
hold on.
you know, in this disposable era we live in, it's like, no,
Yeah.
we will fix your TV, and it will be cheaper than just buying a new one and throwing that out. That's
Yeah.
the Lampley premise.
You run the child sweatshop in the back. That's the only way you can afford to do that. But
By Lampley Electronics. Remember, when you need the best light bulb money can buy, call Lampley. Ding. We'll do an ad. That'll be fun. That's good. Vintage electronics, some kind of, you know, some just a lot of like, whether or not it's a vintage electronics thing, or I think it could be like a rental, you know, whatever. Like, it's just, there's a lot of gear there. It's great because then I can go back to headquarters and gear up, you know, and get phones and stuff.
did we decide on whether we had public identities or secret identities?
That's a good question. That's something I was going to talk about.
Tab already did, but you could change that, of course, if you want. You said that yours.
I don't want to have a public identity.
I'm gonna be honest. My character isn't trying to be public on purpose, but he's not doing a good enough job keeping it a secret. Sometimes he'll just be standing in a public alleyway and light cigarettes with his powers, and he doesn't know. He's just young and unseasoned and not prepared.
I think I'm the only one who actually has a costume, which is kind of funny to me because it's like, you know, they'd show up and it's just like, you know, everybody's just wearing their clothes and I got like a completely white bodysuit.
He will dress up and cover his face if he thinks he's going to be doing something weird, but if he just gets into a fight, then he will absolutely light himself on fire for it and not care who sees.
Okay.
So I'm thinking I probably have a public identity. I don't really care that much. But I would respect someone else's right to have a secret identity, or we might not even know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we did.
Yeah. That's I was kind of liking the idea that like you guys don't know that like the nerdy skinny scientist guy who owns the shop is actually your teammate, Leo Lamp.
Oh my god, that's great.
We had also discussed being like a sponsored superhero team, right? Like a corporate sponsorship.
Mm-hmm.
Which I mean, we could still there's still room to have public and secret identities, and we can be mixed.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably have a handler that knows the truth, but
I think it'd be fun.
Or you guys came up with like clever ways to keep your identity secret.
I think my guy lost his job by blowing up the newsroom, and then rather than trying to get another job, he's just like, well, maybe I'll be a superhero. What the hell?
That's a thing, right?
That's a thing. And so we kind of threw together a costume that's like super. I went to Goodwill, you know, that
like Madcap. Isn't that what he did in the comics? Madcap. He just went to a costume store, was like, give me that.
So what if we combine the ideas, right? Doug's character has a secret identity. He sponsors the superhero team, inserts himself into it. Like, I want to be a superhero. I want a team.
Yes.
What do? I know I got a lot of money. I'll just throw money at this class.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that is exactly what I was kind of thinking.
Well,
Oh
it was
my
the
God,
Tony
that's
Stark thing
beautiful.
where it was his bodyguard. You know, it was like, oh, and meet Iron Man. Meet my friend Iron Man. Hello, Iron Man. We appreciate all your hard work. And it's
Well,
like,
that is funny.
I don't know who that is.
That would be the perfect like superhero frontman for a light bulb company.
Yeah, maybe he's also like the company mascot,
Yeah.
like in the commercials. So he actually, when he goes and does ribbon cutting, it's not like we have the superhero. It's just like, yeah, that's the mascot for Lampley.
Yeah, it's a Lampley Light Man.
Yeah.
It's like Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. It's a Lampley Light Man.
He can bewilder criminals with dazzling lights, or just the fact that a company spokesperson is
Like,
fighting
all right.
crime at night. Like, what's the Lampley Light Man doing here?
So are you spelling night with a K? You should totally spell it with a K.
I have
With ITE.
42 permutations of his name. Some of them are Knight with N-I-G-H-T. Some are N-I-T-E. Some is N-I-K-N-I-G-H-T. Night, bright light, light sprite, white sprite,
Man,
light.
if we ever figure out who you are, I imagine it will be finding a notebook in your desk with like all of these names
Oh,
written and
absolutely, yeah,
scratched
he's
out
like-
in it.
Yeah, he's like learning how to be a superhero as he's doing it. So it's just
Oh,
like
I
when he
like
shows
him
up,
so
it's
much.
like, I'm Bright Light. It's like, I thought you were Night Light. Like, yeah, I haven't decided. I haven't settled on a name yet.
He's such a nerd. He's my favorite.
Yeah, he's
tell us
basically that's
about
it. He's a
the
nerd
company
who's
jingle.
just like, I got money and I'm smart, so I'm gonna be a superhero.
So, is our superhero team based out of New York from your headquarters, your corporate headquarters, or is there a separate facility that we're
Yeah,
housed?
I like the like out of date electronics shop because I figured like he is super rich, so it's like they probably have like a really high tech facility business like office. But this is just like some rundown shop on in Hell's Kitchen or whatever, or the Red Hook section of Brooklyn.
So he sponsors us, has this awesome business, and like, here's this hole in the wall. You guys can use it. Okay.
Right.
He wants the whole
Well,
experience.
He's a CEO. I mean, so he still has to answer to the board, and they're like, we can't have that in the building.
In Power Man and Iron Fist, that's Luke Cage and Iron Fist, of course, when they joined up together in issue number 50, they went on for about 38 issues before all of a sudden, and they were just the heroes for hire. So they would do local help out people, bodyguard services, whatever, for like $10 here. If they were lucky, $200 there. And at one point, Luke Cage realizes that Danny Rand that Power Man Iron Fist is actually Danny Rand, who owns. So he's multi-billionaire, almost on par with Tony Stark. And he's like, why are we doing all this other stuff for like chump change when you're a multi-billionaire? He's like, I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
He's loving it. Yeah. Doug's
So here's my idea.
Love it.
You guys have some kind of a base, but you have to have a secret entrance. Like the waterfalls or Batman's Batcave. Okay. So here's my suggestion. Dave suggested a red box earlier. Here's my suggestion. Just like with the Batcave on the inside, you set the time to the grandfather clock to the time that Batman's family got shot in Murder Alley, and that time changes according to different comic books. And then all of a sudden, the wall faces, it opens up, and you could slide down and then the Batcave. How about if somebody goes to the red box and they buy or they rent Frankenfish? Or some really stupid movie that nobody would ever rent.
Something that nobody would rent.
That's great because someday
Until the one day when Bill decides somebody did rent it and they're suddenly in your base. I like that idea.
If someone can
That's
spend
the greatness of
karma,
it.
that's like one of the things. Spend 100 karma, our base gets infiltrated.
Oh,
Yeah.
I dig it. Do we have to pay for the
What
movie every
would-
time?
Yeah, we get billed every time. I know who owns that red
Could you give
box.
me a promo code? Yeah. Leo.
Because
Yeah,
he's
and
gonna
of
have
course-
to reimburse us for having to like rent this movie repeatedly.
Be like,
What
I'm
movie
broke. I
should it be?
can't leave because I can't get back in if I do.
What's a good movie?
I've got another potential sponsor for you.
Oh, I thought that was Mysterio for a second.
Lex Luthor.
So I don't want to step on your toes, Bill, but I don't know how many sessions years you've run either. But one of the things, like, I don't know if you want to throw this out there, but is there anything in particular anyone wants to see in the game? An expectation, something they want to work towards?
That's a good one. Yeah, I was hoping to actually get to that because I was originally talking about the kind of adventures it would be like the Defenders, like that you'd see on TV and things like that. Obviously, I'm not going to have like dreadnoughts coming after you because one dreadnought could freaking wipe you guys off the floor, But if I were to maybe say like the AmeriCorps came after you, the AmeriCops came after you, that would be more interesting. Or something more low level. You'd be fighting like the Kingpin,
Serpent Society.
Serpent
What?
Society, yeah, as long as we're not going for Serpent Crown. Absolutely. The movie is Phenomenon. Hey, I liked that movie, dude. John,
Yeah, he sees a real bright
Travis-
light.
what the hell was his name again? John
Time,
Travolta.
Time Bandits was an awesome movie.
Yeah, dude, like, what are you talking about? That was really good flick.
Yeah, but who's gonna rent Phenomenon?
I would rent Phenomenon, okay? I would rent Phenomenon.
There you go. Then you would be in our base. But I was just thinking because it's like they see the real bright, he sees the bright light.
You
Got a
have seen
pretty,
Rubber.
it's got a pretty good soundtrack, Doug. Got a
That's
pretty
how
good
Mr. Cyber infiltrated the base.
No, really. Have you guys seen Rubber?
Rob, I have not.
See what?
No.
Rubber. It's a movie about a murderous tire.
Yeah, the tire.
And every year, my little brother and I watch it because it's the worst movie we've ever seen, and we love it.
I heard of it. But that's like those old crappy movies like Frankenfish or like that version of Jack Frost. With did anybody see that?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
The
that's
scene
a
with
good
the
one.
carrot. I'm just saying. Like
Yep.
that was like, oh my god.
It's a terrible movie.
Movies like Wendigo, all sorts of old movies like that. I love those stupid movies.
Every year, Garrett from DMG Info sends me this Christmas tree movie where the Christmas trees start murdering everybody.
Oh my god.
That's the guy who did Hobo with his shotgun. The killer Christmas trees.
Ugh. Just anything all the way on the bottom of the list on YouTube, on
Austin.
Netflix. You know what I'm talking about. When you've watched all the good stuff and you just keep scrolling
Yeah.
down, and you're like, what the hell is that? Okay, I got to watch this. So, yeah, like that. Doug, sorry, you made us beg the question. Which B movie did you write, direct, star in, and all that stuff?
It's called Bad Service. It's about servers who are fed up with getting crappy tips, and people that are like abusive and rude to them, so they go to where those people work and harass them until they give them money to leave them alone.
I need to see this movie.
You made a
Good luck.
movie, Doug?
Yeah, it's really. I mean, I think it's funny just because I remember making it, but it's not good.
That's awesome.
That's
It is on
exactly why I
IMDb.
need
It
to
is
see
on
this
IMDb
movie.
though, and the trailer is on IMDb.
Oh, I'm watching the trailer right now. This is great.
Oh,
Screen
So we're going to
share.
take an intermission.
This is great.
Like I said, I had fun doing it. I mean, but
It
it's
looks
not
like
good.
fun. You shot in a comic book store. There's a comic book store in like the fifth shot.
I was one of the people they harassed.
Okay, so now we know what movie you guys got to rent at the Red.
Yeah, it could
I'm
be
joking. So,
please though.
because nobody's gonna rent that.
by the way, for the sake of conversation, you guys can actually go and look at the fourth issue of Sandman, the old comic by Neil Gaiman. If you want, they actually
Oh,
did
I
a
love
live
that.
action version of that. It's available on Facebook or YouTube if you look for it.
Which
It
one?
was pretty good for Sandman. They actually the fourth
Issue
issue
four?
where they were in
I
the
love those comics.
In the diner?
yeah.
They
Yes,
made a movie
exactly.
of that?
Remember where they were in the diner.
Oh, are you talking
Huh?
about Oh my god, I almost did that.
Stuff?
No, there's
The
a name.
crazy guy. It was in Gotham City.
Yeah,
They went.
Yeah.
There was no
He's got the
Batman.
yeah, it was
jewel.
Dr. Destiny. He made everybody like kill themselves and stuff and get off island.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yes.
it's got a name.
John.
That was really done?
Yeah.
Really?
It was actually
Wow.
done. It was actually really good. I watched it a couple of
lady's
weeks
gonna
ago.
be
It was actually really
mad.
good.
So, Dave, when you were asking if there's stuff people want to get done, were you talking to the chat or us?
No, you guys, as
Oh.
players, like you're in the game. Is there anything in particular you want to see happen? So this way, Bill has some ideas.
My character's father is still alive. Feel free to target him at any point.
Done. Add him to the character sheet.
Yeah,
At least
there
like
she
a
is.
name.
He's
where
on
he
the
works,
character
what he does.
sheet. It's already there.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I don't really know. I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
I just think that I really like the idea that we establish a team and that there's elements of it that are public and elements of it that are private, and it's just going to lead to a lot of fun RP stuff, and it makes us a target. That's my favorite thing. That's my favorite Spider-Man thing. Is that it's New York, it's Tuesday night, it's about 9 o'clock, and everything's fine, and then all hell breaks loose because you thought it would be good to go from here to there, and somebody was waiting for you to do it, and every weirdo in tights shows up, and all hell breaks loose. And by the end of it, where your glasses are cracked and you're all like, oh, what the hell, it's a slugfest. The Mighty Marble Manor, we gotta do that stuff, and so that's why I'm glad there's not some like crushing campaign push. It should be kind of more freeform and fun, and like, what if a bunch of weirdos got together and made a super team? And
Episodic.
yeah, it's fun. It's fun. And the weirder the better. And I love that you're talking about the AmeriCorps and all that, the more esoteric, deep Marvel, the more I have to Google it, the happier I am. I love it.
So
Fight Blacklash.
I do have one thing I feel like that should happen at some point. Now, you guys can veto me on this one because this will affect everyone. At some point, the hideout should get blown up.
Oh, and then you have to leave the hideout. Yeah. And then we go upstate for a little bit and regroup.
Yeah. Leo could lose his link to the money, so we don't have our money hookup. Yeah, I'm fine with all that stuff. I don't care.
Back.
Oh, we need a team name. That's definitely.
He needs to figure out how to be a hero without his incredible resources.
Yeah.
We need the team name. What is your superhero name again, Megan?
Ash.
Okay, Ash. All right, so we got Ash, Mosh Pit, Broadcast, Darwin, Nightlight, some version of.
Yeah. Something, yes, that rhymes and has light or bright in it somewhere. Or night.
Should be like Lampley's X-Men. Should be like some sort of like Nestle's.
So are you going to do lasers too, Doug, or are you doing more like illusions and invisibility and trickery?
Technically, I could do lasers, but I didn't really want maybe it's like a power stunt. So basically, it's just like illusions and stuff like that.
Like
so it's not like his go-to isn't lasers. Maybe if later on I build up a lot and it's just like it might focus all his energy into one beam, but it's not like he's gonna be shooting lasers left and right.
Okay. Well, I'm just trying to get a feel for what we're doing. Hey,
well, here's a question. Like for Bill, then, is our first real session? Is it like we're already established as a team, or are you going to bring us together as a team? Because that might influence what we call ourselves, depending on this. We might think of something during play, depending on the circumstances that happen.
Well, my original idea was just start you off as a team. But if you want, I can actually go into how you guys get your powers if that's what you wanted to do. Did you all want to continue with that original idea of there's one isolated event that causes all of you guys to get your powers?
I like it. I think it ties us together.
I left that up in the air specifically so we could do this if you guys wanted to.
Yeah, I'm cool with whatever.
Yeah.
I like it.
Literally, Dave, even you, you're no, you don't have your own band, like your own yourself being your own one-man band.
No, I'm part of a band. I'm the front man of a band. Is the idea.
Okay.
And
I see what he's saying though. Like making your own mosh pit wouldn't have been a thing until that event happened.
Yeah.
So we've been a team for a while.
So in this version, you would not have been a team at all, and you guys would have all just been at an event. And that would have caused, everything else. That's the butterfly flapping its wings on the other end of the earth.
Well, we can also fast forward to now we're a team, but that's what happened.
That's what I'm saying. Is can we do it so it's 8 weeks later, or 6 weeks later, and so we're all it's your characters. You do what you want to do. It stands to reason that the mutants would have known since they were 14 or 15 what the score is, and it wasn't that if you're going Marvel mutants, they all found out at puberty or whatever. We don't have to. You guys do your thing. But as far as the instant, I would like for at least a couple or 3 weeks to have gone by, because I would like for at least my guy to have already this, to have decided. And this was something I was going to talk about. That's what's kind of cool about this team is my guy is out to get attention. I want to I want to go seek injustice and kick its ass, and then tell everybody that I sought injustice and kicked its ass. That's what I would I'm going to be a total heel pain in the ass is kind of my
He's
guy.
his own hype man.
Yeah.
I like what David Peel is saying in the chat, and that's kind of what I was thinking too, is the idea that we start as a team, but we could always do flashbacks, and
Yeah.
like we could spread them out over the season.
That's cool.
Ooh.
I like
I like
that.
that.
And however you want, however you want to run that, Bill. I mean, I've done it in different games in different ways, and just kind of like throw it to the players if, like, here's 5 minutes to shine and go over something that happened before if you want.
Part of the fun of a super team is everybody being like, it's like that time, oh, you don't even know what it was like when I was, and you were constantly referring to it. Like, you won't shut up about your origin story. And so I don't want to play the origin story. I don't want to be like, that's, 8 weeks ago, my life changed forever, and all that stuff.
And I was
Gotta
going
have happen.
I was going with a latent mutant, so I didn't know I was a mutant until after this thing happened. That triggers my power.
I think that's cool. It's fun.
Like, the thing happens and maybe it blows me into 6 pieces.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, that's neat.
Should I take vocal control? Because this is the only one I didn't get to bring up. Should I be able to mimic any sound I hear?
Yes.
Right. Because then I can change people. Then I can alter my voice and fake people's voices and sound like other people on the phone and on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah, I like those kind of things. Like those powers in any game where you can use like avoid fights and stuff. It's like I don't want to get in a fight, so it's like you can get out of fights or not even cause them by using those things.
Let me bookmark a comical scene at some point where Ash is like, broadcast, I need you to like call my workplace and pretend to be my mom and tell them I'm sick.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. Yes.
So Nate actually is a teen.
Yeah, he's 19. He's not like in high school anymore, but
he's an adult, but he's still.
He's an adult. He doesn't make his own doctor's appointments or anything.
Well, I just meant like, I didn't know if that was going to be a concern. Like, this guy's not even, he's a minor still.
No, he's not a minor.
Okay.
He has a fake ID that swears he's 21, but he isn't.
Right.
What's your resources, Megs?
Let me check my character sheet. It's whatever it started off as.
Probably like
typical.
4. Yeah. Oh.
Typical. Okay. We could say that your money comes from your parents sending you money. Like, maybe your parents are divorced and they're sending money for you to go to college, so you have to fake that you're in college all the time.
6 months ago.
Yes.
Didn't tell him.
Right. Still in school.
Well, that was one of the alternate backstories I was going to go with for my character, was that he was actually a National Reservist, and he took the money that you're supposed to take for the GI Bill and just blew it on trying to promote his band.
You'd have to make your own school to do that. They don't just give you cash. But what do you call it? All right, nice. Here's the thing. How about you guys just make your own individual origin stories then? Obviously, really easy for the mutants. Should also be easy for you, Doug. Tad and what do you call it? Davon, DBJ. I don't think he's a mutant. I think he's an altered human. So, what? Oh yeah, you got it up there.
Yeah. He is.
Did you write
He
it
didn't
down?
specify, but yeah, I think that was what it was, like altered human.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
because
then you
I
guys
think
could
he was
just-
going off the event.
Yeah.
Okay. Which means he would be an altered human regardless. So the event could just be for him then, if that's the case, or whatever. I feel you guys could just do however you want. Maybe
Maybe he
BJ
brings us together.
Travis.
His future self would know something, kind of like know of the future and stuff. Like, I need these disparate people, so like we wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? Like,
It's not a future self. It's just the pinnacle of human evolution.
well, yeah, but I mean, it is, yeah, it's like an
It's
evolved
not from the
human,
future though.
So,
right,
but
right.
so like I kind of had this idea that maybe like the event happens and it affects everyone but Doug, because Doug gets his powers from devices, but he wants to be a superhero and he wants a team. So maybe he discovers Broadcast, that who got his powers in the event, and then because Broadcast was there and he's got all the footage, between the two of you, you're able to actually like pick out people that were there and like, oh, something happened, And then you two kind of go on the scavenger hunt and gather us together.
That's true. Yeah. So like when we were going to Village, like, look there, that guy got blown into 6 pieces. Like he's got powers. Let's find him.
Yeah, because you'd easily find broadcast, but like, oh yeah, that loudmouth was there. And then
Yeah,
since you
that's
want
a
to
cool-
form a superhero team anyway,
Yeah. So okay. So yeah, I seek him out, and then like I said, like I like that idea. We go over his footage and just like pick out people. Like, hey, that kid, like he just caused that fire or whatever, and then slips away. Let's find him and so. Yeah, that's a cool idea. I like that. What do you think,
And like, you know,
Travis?
so like it could be like months or even a year. We could even fast forward a year after the event, and like, but the ripples could still be happening. We've been together for 6 months. Maybe you waited. Like maybe you're like, you guys aren't ready. The sponsorship is going to pull out if you guys start doing stuff before you're ready. You need to train. You need to be able to work together as a team.
We have a sweet montage, and then we start playing.
Yeah. You need to stop drinking. You can't superhero while you're drunk.
Says you.
We're punching meat.
Have you heard of Molotov cocktails?
From
Because
Philadelphia.
Molotov would be a good name for you.
it would be. Okay, now he's considering it.
I don't know. Would Nathan throw away good at booze though?
No, probably
Phosphorus
not.
could be good.
And Nathan probably doesn't drink good booze aneway.
Hey, so,
No,
yeah,
probably not.
It's all
Those are
Mad Dog
cheap stuff.
2020 and Thunderbird, baby.
Right? I was going to say Thunderbird too.
Why they go hand in hand?
I just did Thunderbird Explained in a minute. And I was like, should I? No, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. I did see. I saw that you did it. I did not check it out yet, though.
What's his name?
Oh,
James Proudstar.
I have to do Blink because that episode just premiered today. The first episode of Gifted, X-Men Gifted. So I have to do Blink.
Oh yeah, that wasn't today. I kind of.
But okay, so here's the big question then. What was the event?
I like that it was a show. If I was going to be covering it, maybe it was like a charity thing or like a big event or some sort of thing, and Dave's band was playing at it, but there was like some sort of thing they were doing, and Doug was unveiling a new, or sponsoring a big thing, or I don't know, maybe there was an alien attack and it was a benefit for victims.
Oh, they could have been doing Doug could have been doing all the
The lighting.
have supplied the lighting. Yeah.
So he
The
feels
staging
partially
stuff.
like involved, at least.
Well, yeah, I
put that
would
to
think.
be there.
I think it is an event, and it was there. The museum was unveiling a brand new exhibit
Yeah.
of some ancient artifact, which could have been like alien technology or something, and maybe it interacted poorly with some of the modern day technology, and there was some kind of either explosion or some kind of phenomena could have happened that wasn't supposed to happen.
Maybe it interacted with the lighting somehow and like refracted it to make this like weird, mutating light that shot out everywhere. So that's why he feels partially. So it's like it was my lighting that caused this problem. I should have done more research.
I don't want to know too much about it because I think it should all come back around, and Bill, you should use it as like, there was the terrifying
Leverage.
truth of what happened that day.
Maybe everyone perceives what happened differently, and that's one of like the problems.
That's yeah.
I woke up.
I've got a really cool catalyst though. How about the way that Doug gets involved is your company was paid to actually do, one of your subsidiaries at least, whatever, was paid to do all of the lighting for this giant event for the museum, which was funded by the government. And when all of the lights began to strobe and explode, and that's what wound up causing the fire, we may not know why that happened, but the city simply blames you, and you are now under a lawsuit by the city of New York.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
now you are like seriously invested in this.
And maybe even people in his own company are involved and he doesn't know that, but he's like, decides to put on a suit and try to find answers for himself at night. But if he's going to do that, he's going to need a team.
Yeah. Get rid of corruption.
So yeah, if you want to have like people in his own business corrupt or what, I'm fine with that. I don't care. As a player, if you want to mess with that kind of stuff.
Sabotage. It was sabotage.
Yeah.
Beastie Boys. I hear them in the background. All right.
So-
what do you call it? Go on.
Secret hideout, red box entrance, movie nobody goes.
Really
So
going
is
with
it like
that?
an abandoned place or is it like an active place?
I think it's actually a business. They can repair people's, electronic devices and stuff for cheap.
Okay,
Although
so
I do
but
like I do like Travis's idea that there's just like a couple of stoners that work the counter.
no, they don't know. Like they don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Oh
There-
no, not at all.
It's JJ and Scotty.
There's a storefront.
Yeah.
Occasionally, Mosh and I take shifts so that
Yeah,
they're not
it's like the
always
bodega
the
of
ones at the
electronic
front.
shops.
Those are the worst nights for the store ever.
Oh yes.
They're just a bunch of losers hanging out.
Mosh usually takes the shifts by himself because there's so many of them.
Yeah.
But once in a while, Nathan needs to, light up, and there's no smoking inside. So
Yeah, you can't smoke around all that
Well,
gear.
yeah. So Mosh Pit, Marley actually thinks he's going to be a rock star someday. But if that falls through, his backup plan is to be a firefighter.
And he works with the guy who creates fires.
You need a backup plan. It's good. And so basically, he just hangs around the firehouse most of the time getting drunk.
Because if you do that, I'm gonna have to go in with you to make sure you don't get burned to a crisp. And
Like
I really
every time-
don't want to have to do that, so we're gonna have to make sure you make it as a rock star. You realize that's what's going on here.
Every time he goes to the hideout, he's like, "Why isn't there a pole? We should be sliding down a pole. How are we going to do this?"
Yeah, maybe that's his overriding goal. Whether he's a firefighter or super, it's like I must have a job where I slide down a pole to do it.
Pretty
at some
sure we're
point.
trying to keep you off the pole. Your parents are
Yes,
rolling
it
over.
could be.
every
You
day.
could always go into mail stripping,
Plan B.
firefighting, or crime fighting.
Let's see. Oh, he's got a pair of coconuts and a hula skirt just in
Yeah.
case.
It's-
Okay. So yeah, of course, Dave's gonna be like, dude, Batman's got a pole. We need a pole.
Yeah.
Oh, did we decide? Like, are we playing Marvel Universe? Are we playing DC Universe? Are we playing a mashup? Are we playing your universe?
I'll leave it to you guys, and the chat can chime.
I actually,
Yeah.
personally, when I run,
Oh, you know what's good? Every one of the players gets a vote, and the chat, when you democratically put together, all of your votes together, we'll see which one tops it, and then that will be the chat's vote.
Okay, totally. So Marvel, DC mashup, or our own thing?
Earth 616 Marvel Universe, please, and thank you.
We're
I'm a
voting our own thing.
I'm a fan of our own thing, personally. I've run quite a few Mutants and Masterminds games, and as a GM, I love running my own thing. I don't really like running the
Oh,
ones
now,
that are already there.
does our own thing mean just like we're the first superheroes that have ever stepped out of a? I mean, does that mean just like
Could be, or it could be something that's new, or there could have always been heroes. Like that's something we can decide on.
Like if we're playing with other people's villains, I feel like there are certain things that are like out of line, but if we're in our own universe, then we can actually change the universe that we're in. Like we've got more capability to actually make things happen, and I like that.
Because that's something that Bill was talking about last time, is that if we do our own thing, that it might limit the number of weirdo, deep Marvel stuff he could throw at us. But that's not necessarily the case. You could still do it. You could put Blacklash in there. He's just our Blacklash.
We could just make this like the Marvel Earth, 20 billion and 16 and a half. It's the standard
Yeah.
Marvel you guys know, but the second that you guys enter into it, it's technically a different Marvel. So
Yes.
yeah, some of the same things will have happened. Maybe some of the things won't, but the same Marvel characters will be in it. The good guys, the bad guys, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And New York is apparently a magically gigantic place that you never have to meet
No.
another character in it.
Oh no.
There will have to be the occasional derogatory crossover. Just it has to happen because it boosts sales. It usually happens to like the second issue. But aside from that,
Yeah, I like the idea that it's like old school Marvel universe in the sense that like you know, we don't have to reference things. We don't have to play in continuity where things have happened. But
Yeah.
you know, at the same time, that gives you the play. You know, like if you want to use a villain or like the Roxxon Corporation or something, you can.
Right.
But it kind of avoids that sense of just like if there's some big threat to the city, it's like, well, why aren't the Avengers here? Like, why would they just leave it to us?
They're
You know
in
what I mean?
space. They're always in space.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so that in that sense, it's just like another Earth in the
Hmm.
Marvel multiverse.
Yeah.
And plus, but I would like to see some like new villains and stuff for us, particularly and
Mhm.
things
Oh yeah, that'll
like
happen.
that. Especially if we have a hand in creating them as all good villains.
Well, if freaking Kyle would have kept on playing, there was a new villain right there.
Yeah.
But okay.
No, he had to go work a factory job and have his soul crushed. He's at that age though when his soul should start getting crushed anyway. I think it's really
So-
important in a developing young man's life.
So are we in agreement? We're going to play in the Marvel universe, but it doesn't have to be the standard comic book universe. It's our own version of the Marvel universe.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Are we cool with DC characters coming in also?
Yeah.
No,
I'm fine.
I don't care.
That's
Or
2 out of 4.
Dark Horse or freaking Image or whatever, man.
I'm fine with Hellboy, and that's it.
Hellboy, that's done.
Only Jughead, and
Yeah, the Riverdale gang.
Yeah, Betty and
and that's it.
Veronica.
yeah.
I want to see the flaming carrot up
Yeah,
in there.
too much coffee, man.
Yeah.
So Shiv's the Stabber. Guys, you need a pet like Snarf. Frigginator says, no Mr. Cyber, though. He was a dick.
At the end, he wasn't.
No, he came around. He was just
That's right.
confused.
There should
Cyber
just be
was
a
going to
pug
do a whole
dog
lot more,
instead of-
but yeah, that did start to get a lot crazy. If you guys want, like, the idea was that Cyber was always actually held a prisoner. It was actually Loki that brought everybody over. What do you call it? And he caught Cyber immediately and did that thing. There was supposed to be a really elaborate way to get it so that he would actually, it was rooted in Egyptian mythology, actually, that if there were 2 shadows or 2 light sources at the same time only in a room, it would have actually short-circuited him permanently, like taken the mystical enchantment out of it, and the real Professor Bill would have woken up. And Bill's actual power was just that he was a mutant with wings.
I am
Actually, gonna
honestly.
make him- Huh?
So wait, who was Mr. Cyber in reality?
Mr. Cyber was just a device that was created by Loki using several other characters so that he could cause all sorts of problems.
Mischief.
I am
What, Meg?
honestly glad that didn't happen because we were playing ourselves, and that's the deity I follow in real life. I wouldn't have been able to fight him.
Oh, well, that's the reason why he whispered to you when you left Asgard, feel free to come back anytime.
Huh.
He was totally planning on manipulating the hell out of you.
Well, and it would
And
have
that's hell with 1 L. But yeah, Mr. Cyber was actually just a construct, and Professor Bill was just the hapless victim. He was literally just a guy with really beautiful angel wings, or like Hawkman.
So essentially, you just reenacted Acts of Vengeance.
No, there was a purpose for it. He wanted to actually just destroy everything, and there was a greater purpose for it that I was going to allow you guys to go, but you guys just went a completely different route. So I literally just scrapped my original plans and just went with the way that you guys were going.
As players will do.
Yep.
I'm good with it.
Cool.
All right, nice.
Yeah.
Besides, I like the Jack Kirby ending better.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was a good ending.
Okay, so I will determine what the event was in general. I'll get back to you guys on that. I'll imagine that for the most part, you guys already had your powers. It will be, I guess, an 8-week later thing.
Honestly,
Doug, you will.
I would like to
Go
see us like start on the anniversary of the event,
Ooh.
Oh
the
yeah.
1-year anniversary. So
Yeah.
in that year, like the team is either forming, we're figuring ourselves out. maybe other things are starting to happen.
Yeah. It's good.
That would give time for any villains to have emerged from the event and established themselves.
Yeah. Well,
Absolutely.
and you know, we get to write Origins, and so, you know, to have that. It's been a while since I
Doug,
played.
I just thought up a good limitation for you if you want.
Let's hear it.
Sorry, Travis, was there something? Sorry.
No, I was just saying, we get to. It gives you more time for character development, which, whether or not it actually plays into any of this, for my own particular headcanon, and by the way, that's a good name for a supervillain, headcanon. Just saying. Be my nemesis. It give you a chance to put more things that happen that we can you know, play with and write into our origin story. I like that better than 8 weeks. Now talk to Doug. That's all I got.
Yeah, I like that too.
That works. But Doug, if you want, I can put a stipend on your funds so that you are under serious scrutiny, like major audit, and you cannot funding a super team, you'd actually get in trouble. So you'd have to have, so maybe that's the reason why you can't just make a literal Bat Cave or Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah.
That's the reason why, yeah, you can only use certain things.
Yeah, and there's people that work there that are you know, he's not so rich like Bruce Wayne where he can like hide $1 billion assets. It's like there's still people that, you know, whose jobs depend on them making income. So I can't just like siphon off money for this, you know, silly project I have. You know,
Yeah.
it's just like I just know enough, and in my spare time, I put this suit together and use some of his, you know, money and stuff to do what he can on the side.
Okay. So if you want to do something like that, I could give you some kind of a boost of some sort. If you want to make you slightly less squishy, the rules in the player's handbook for high tech is that if you do take any kind of body armor whatsoever, you could technically
No, I want him to
reroll.
be squishy.
Done.
Yeah, I'm aware. Yeah, if you have the body armor, but it's like, nah, he's just like a dude with a light up suit. Who can like hypnotize people and change color.
Okay.
Like I imagine, like during that year when, you know, he probably like dropped down in an alley and like tried to dazzle people and got his ass kicked a lot.
That's why he wanted a team.
Yeah, that's part of it. Yeah, it's like I can't do this, man.
The team is his body armor.
I
Yes.
think anyone that's in this game right now would have whooped your ass if you would have jumped
Oh
out.
yeah, dude, I could probably whip this guy's ass.
I'm
Like
envisioning.
in game terms, I think like 2 punches would take him down.
Was it Dynamo and Running Man that came out in a lit up suit?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the joke out last week.
The light bulb.
Dynamo.
I'm
Okay,
envisioning
listen,
the
he's a
Whippy version.
nerd, but he's our nerd, and if you hurt him, we're gonna have to break you down.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's why I figured like I could have, you know, like that's why I like his powers are like distracting. He can make decoys. He can hypnotize and blind people and things. Like I'm not going to be jumping in the fray and all that. And the way the chat is, I'm sure they'll viciously attack me at every cost and use all their karma to kill me. But I will do my best to fend
He's
them
like,
off.
I've developed the most important power of all, invisibility.
Oh, he can turn invisible.
Yep.
Oh,
It is
Uh,
indeed
maybe
very
Howard.
important.
or no, Lincoln countered by a pair of shades.
You know what's cool about those decoys is like you can actually, they give you clairvoyance, clairaudience, and speech. Like I can see through them, but they can like pass through walls and stuff like that too. So no matter where they are, he can see and hear through them.
I didn't take clairaudience. I thought that's good that you did it and I didn't, because
It's just like a side effect of illusory duplicates.
yeah, it makes sense for that.
Yeah.
All right, so we
Clairaudience is
want to
crazy.
wrap it up here and get Professor Bill whatever he wants. You can always send us in the chat what the specifics that you want to start the game. And next week we will officially start the game.
Woo.
And we're also working with War Eagle to up the production value. So, he showed us some things that looks really cool. I believe War Eagle and Professor Bill are going to be working behind the scenes a little bit to get things figured out. But hopefully, it's going to up the production value a little bit and make it way cooler than what you're used to seeing around here.
Hey guys, it's a perfect time for me to hop in.
Good, because you have nice hair and you don't want them to miss out on that.
Just thank you, Megan. Happy to be a part of the team, and me and Bill are going to put together something pretty cool. I have actually been working behind the scenes, and I've been watching it with our new set, and I've just had a blast. Like, just the experience that our viewers are going to get is going to be great. So, yeah.
It looks really cool. I can't wait, man. That's awesome. I love that.
Yes, thank you.
Badass.
Yes, it's going to be super cool. And also, thanks to Wuriel, because he kind of sped up the process. Like we were talking about doing a season 2, but I was still dragging my heels a little bit. But that definitely motivated me to go, all right, let's get this thing going on. We'll switch up the cast a little bit. We'll make it at a time that more people can watch, and that was more agreeable to Bill. So, all in all, it's going to be really cool. Tony Thompson had an awesome idea for broadcast Nemesis in the chat. I'm loving that. Do what you want with it, Professor Bill.
I would say the biggest foe to both radio and blogging would probably be YouTubers, because nobody likes to read or just listen to stuff as much as watch video.
My biggest nemesis is going to be sobriety.
I think it's the biggest nemesis to a YouTuber: demonetization.
Yeah.
No. Excellent. So with that, we're going to wrap this up, guys. And thanks.
Whoa, we're not going to wrap it up just yet. You guys have homework. You were in school. You guys do have homework. You guys have to decide what your base looks like. So everybody contributes in some way, shape, or form what your superhero base is going to look like. You'll have had a whole year to mess with it.
Oh.
They're going to be like, you cannot put a stage on the roof. That's just not happening. That's a no.
No, we can't.
Broadcast can hook up the soundproofing for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right, so the homework is to come up with a piece of the HQ.
Yes.
Oh, you know what? None of us have movement powers either, so that's the other thing that's kind of interesting. We're gonna have to roll up in a minivan.
We can use a white panel van.
Yeah.
Finally, Dave. Or call an Uber.
Your equipment over. It'll literally be Dave's band van.
Oh man.
We'll just have to call Uber or hail a cab.
Now it's gonna be like Deadpool. Damn it! Forgot the bullets again. All right, so we'll have to think of that. We'll have to think of that, and we'll also have to think about how are we getting to the crime scenes, especially if you're going with the flaw that your funding is kind of cut.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know what you guys are going to do. I have a motorcycle.
Should have to take cabs and stuff.
VW minivan, microbus.
Mosh is welcome to sit in the bitch seat.
Oh,
I say go for a Winnebago and get a big dog, big brown dog.
Can we each have our own smart car? We can Voltron them.
Oh man. Somebody could get a sidecar for Nate's motorcycle.
Never. I will murder you before I let you do it.
Oh, no sidecar.
Nobody touches my baby.
That reminds me of when my kids were little and my son's like, we should get a motorcycle. We put a car, put a sidecar on either side and one behind him. Like, at that point, isn't it just a car?
It's a car with no body. It's just the chassis.
Well, kids.
Yeah.
But all right, so there's some things for us to think about.
Bill, I'm going to get in touch with you about my starting resources and my starting gear list and make sure that it's realistic. I don't think I need to have like 20 phones. You know what I mean? Like I'm just gonna write like a starting gear list, and you can approve it.
You got bandoliers of phones.
That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna look like that kid from the Burger King Kids Club, you know, with the visor and the I'm 90, so I got my bandolier of just electronic, my CD player, my headphones, and my
Mind you, that
smartwatch.
bandolier. You know, you got like the cell phones. You got the little magnetic strip to phone holder, the little speed trap thing. You just flip it up and that you carry on your belt for a quick draw for your phone. He's just got like 40 of them all across his chest, a couple across his arms, big pouches down his leg, and just phones everywhere.
Pretty much insisted they all be those flip phones from The Sopranos. That none of them are the flat razors phones. All the burners.
I guess you
from
could say
Sopranos.
you're on call.
Oh, before we do go, how fast can someone move before movement powers are a problem?
What do you mean?
Don't you have super speed?
I do, but I have a flaw that it doesn't grant me any advantages or resistances against super speed.
Like how many areas can you move? Is that what you're asking?
No. Like, well, yeah. How many you can move before you're affected by super speed? Like at a certain point, you can't breathe. You can't. You have no resistance or friction.
I don't know.
Standard movement is 2 areas per round. I would imagine how. I'll tell you what. Here, you figure it out. Get in your car, drive as fast as you can, stick your head out the window.
Okay.
Well, in that case, you can go pretty fast. Like,
Talk me into it.
that's over 100 miles an hour. You get like 200 miles an hour, right?
200 miles an hour? You're talking about freaking rocket cars, dude. No, that's whiplash experience and everything.
No, a motorcycle.
I hear you. 200 miles an hour on a motorcycle?
I go over 100 miles an hour in my Lancer. Motorcycle's much faster.
But at the same time, you're also wearing some kind of a leather jacket, right? Because you're going to get hypothermia driving that fast in that t-shirt.
And it's good to have a second skin.
Well, that's
just
what
in case.
I'm curious. I'm going to have to Google this. I'm definitely going to have to Google this.
Yeah, because there are like several factors. Even if you could breathe at one point, you're still going to get hypothermia going at a certain speed. Like a bright, nice, sunny, shiny summer day, you're going to get hypothermia driving on your motorcycle in a t-shirt. So I do remember that. I got to get a motorcycle up here, dude. Just drive through Canada. Be like one of the only people. Everybody's so lame here. But
Mike Gould,
that's what I said it.
You're the coolest guy in Canada, Bill.
Yeah. No, Mike Gould's a biker.
American. I already am. I said it on Nerdarchy. I said it. But what do you call it? Yeah, there's several factors. There's also turning. Like case in point, you could drive really fast on a motorcycle, make a left turn. What happens? So there's several factors.
Gotta make an agility feat roll is what happens.
Control. Yep. If you're just running.
I have a quick question. How are we doing the dice rolling? Are we rolling? I have
Oh, yeah.
percentiles. I roll right here and tell you what I got?
Yep.
Oh.
Scout's honor system.
Yes, I was about to say. I was thinking about that.
Or is it that? I don't know. I wasn't a scout. I was a scout for one day.
No,
Quit.
well, you were right, actually, Doug. Travis is wrong.
Oh,
That
is it
2-finger
3?
thing? Yes, it's the 3 fingers.
It's
Not quite that one.
I was close.
Scout's honor. What, is that the Irish six-pack?
That's the shocker,
this? Yeah, that's the shocker.
The shocker. There you go.
aka the stunner.
And
That's
see,
filthy
look at Megan
dirty.
right now. This is what I mean about breathing problems.
This is Nerdarchy at night. This is Nerdarchy nights, man.
Yeah, it's Nerdarchy after dark.
Yeah.
I'm not dead. I'm good.
What are you doing still watching this?
Cornering
YouTube.
45 degrees of lean angle with a knee skimming along the pavement and anywhere from 40 miles per hour up to 100 miles per hour. That's a burn.
That's a
All
hell of a
26
thing.
of
Those are
you.
Good tires.
Well, it's it's a crotch rocket. That's what they do.
No, you're always changing tires on a freaking
Okay.
bike. You're doing stuff like that. Anyway.
This says 155 miles per hour. I don't know. Just curious.
So by all means, check it out. I think that if you have like a running speed of remarkable 30, it would probably like lead us. I think that's 7 areas per turn, so 70 feet per, which kind of per 10 seconds or something like that. So 0 to 70 in and literally, like when you're doing lightning speed, it's immediate speed. You don't have to rev up to that like for flight. So yeah, anything along those lines, whatever, as long as it feels somewhat realistic. Even like poor 4 body armor would probably protect you against anything like that.
What body armor? What's that? All right, man. Are we ready to wrap this thing up?
Oh yeah.
All right, guys. I want to thank everyone for hanging out. Thank you, War Eagle. I can't wait to see what you do when we kick this thing off for real next week. Of course, we messed them up a little bit by having having one person down, so we'll have to reconfigure everything. But I think he's got it. And thanks as always, Professor Bill, for running. And thank you guys for watching. So until next time, stay nerdy.
Stay nerdy.
Stay nerdy.
Stay nerdy.